I think this leads in very well to the third idea you wanted to share, which is leaders need to be making this choice between, are they playing to win or are they playing to avoid losing? And this seems to me to be very related to the idea of, if I'm playing to avoid losing, maybe I get in and I micromanage. I make sure mistakes aren't happening, quote unquote. I'm going to put air quotes around mistakes because those are just growth opportunities, right? But
Yeah.
if is that kind of what you're pointing to here? This mentality of, you can't be always playing to avoid losing. You have to be thinking about how to play to win, which is it's a different approach.
There's a right moment for both of these. So
Mhm.
playing to win versus avoiding to lose is a concept um, of a phenomenal social psychologist, Torrey Higgins, and his theory of motivation. It's called regulatory focus. I would encourage anyone to look into it. And at the core of it is this premise that there's two motivational systems that help us to prevail. And one is that idea of leaning into being oriented towards a gain, playing to win. And the other one is preventing something bad to be happening, avoiding to lose. And it's critical to understand those two motivational systems because all of us have for all of us, the message resonates slightly different, right? We all have a default state that we're operating in. And as a leader or as a manager, it's critical to understand what is motivating to your team and getting the right, approaching them with the right message. And also as a leader, there are certain situations where we by default will be leaning more into one versus the other. Naturally so, right? Like if you want to put out a bold vision, it's much more bold and much more inspiring if you're trying to play to win rather than avoiding to lose. But on the other hand, when Sun Tzu was burning the bridges and had his army with the back against the river, like there's a way to inspire, to motivate others by avoiding to lose. And in feedback mechanisms, we gravitate more towards well, at least the way feedback is often delivered. We tend to gravitate towards the avoiding to lose piece, right? So, hey,
Mm.
here are all the things that you are doing wrong. Like there's an implicit assumption if I don't do everything right, then it looks bad on me, right? So if I just stick with with the theme of your great work here, and so how can leaders become even better leaders? There's a key to leaning on both those mechanisms and striking the right balance. So let me give you that example of feedback, right? Like how many managers point out what is a person's superpower, right? Not just leaning onto the development opportunities and whatever new word we want to choose, right? And because surely there's room to address both, right? The great things, the playing to win. Here are your superpowers. This is what you bring to the team, as well as the developmental opportunities. This is what you need to be doing better in order to. And so, for example, I worked with one of the CEOs who asked, who asked their team to do a collage of what the superpowers of everyone on the team is. You know what? The collage where you like
Yeah, yeah.
little images on a piece of paper, and it was super interesting exercise. I mean, when everyone saw what others thought their superpowers were, and they were given this little piece of art. I mean, you would not imagine
Mm.
how many of executives still have that hanging in their office, in the office by the computers.
I can imagine, Claudius, and I can imagine them being inspired to leverage those strengths to do amazing things.